So, Khamzat Chimaev has pulled out again against Robert Whittaker. I mean, poor Robert, just everyone pulling out against him. And I was just wondering, is Khamzat's time running out? Does he still have time to be a champion? Does he still have time to be an all-time great? Because everyone who followed Khamzat's career knows he was probably like the most guaranteed future champ ever. You just look at this guy and go, he's gonna be champ. And it was crystal clear with him that he was going to be an all-time great, or at least that he had the potential to be an all-time great. And he was very much en route to it. People were talking about double champ status from someone who hadn't even faced a champ at that time, and some people even talked about him being the first triple champ. Imagine how insane that is, just winning 3 titles in 3 separate divisions. And Khamzat looked all the part in the beginning. He was very active and he finished everyone. In the last 4 years, he has had 7 fights, which in itself doesn't look all that good in terms of activity, but the stats don't tell the full story here. At first, he was very active. He fought John Phillips, Rice McKee, and Gerald Mearshart all in the same year in just like 2 months. Then he took like a year off to fight Li Jingliang, and then it took him 6 months to fight Gilbert Burns, which is okay, like a fight every 6 months. Fought Kevin Holland only 5 months later. Again, he was very active at that time, but then again he took a whole year to fight Usman, and that Usman fight is now 8 months in the past, so probably until Khamzat's gonna fight again, it's probably gonna be another year. Khamzat is probably only gonna fight once in 2024. He can't just rush through the divisions and through the opponents the higher the level of competition gets. I mean, you can't fight Robert Whittaker and 2 months later you'll fight Sean Strickland. That just doesn't happen, at least usually. And man, listen, this guy is still a monster. Like, I know he didn't look all that good in the Usman fight, but he did have a broken wrist and he kind of looked very good in the grappling, especially in the beginning. And him out-grappling and dominating Usman on the ground like that really makes me believe that he can out-grapple and dominate anyone in the UFC on the ground. But the problem is, he just always pulls out. And he gets very sick very often, which is just, this sucks so bad. And I'm not talking about this guy just getting a fever. Like, this guy gets very sick. He gets hospitalized. This seems to be the case ever since he's gotten COVID. It was the same thing when he had COVID. He was hospitalized. And man, it's just crazy. This guy goes to like a bloody war with Gilbert Burns, but like a fever puts him down. It's like that meme of men who like, we can live with one arm, but having a fever, like our time has come. And man, with Khamzat, it just looks like he has long COVID, or at least still some after effects from that. I don't know what happened, but his immune system seems to be like, I think it got really throttled by him getting COVID. It probably wasn't that bad all his life, but ever since he's had COVID, man, this sucks so bad, man. His immune system, it just feels like it's a bottleneck for him, you know? It's a very hard bottleneck. Pause. How are you gonna train and fight properly when your immune system just decides to give out and you get extremely sick, and then you have that road to recovery? And if this happens over and over again, it can really throw you off, man. I can talk from experience. Like, obviously, I'm not in the UFC and I don't have long COVID, but I'm someone who gets sick often. And man, it always stops me from working out and training and all that stuff. And it sucks so bad. And man, like, this guy, he gets like really, really sick. He has to go. And by the way, fuck everyone who clowns on him for pulling out. Like, this guy got hospitalized. Even Dana White said violently hospitalized. Like, I've never heard someone violently being in the hospital, but it's Khamzat, I guess. This in itself is already bad enough, but problem is he's also always having visa issues. Of course, he came from Chechnya, which is in Russia, to Sweden. Now he's fighting for the UAE, and his visa issues just make it very hard for him to fight in the USA, and it just forces him to be inactive, which, oh man, is like, how is he gonna win all those fights he has to win to be an all-time great? Because, like, realistically, think of it. If you want to be an all-time great, you have to be a champion, and you have to win a couple of championship fights. Like, Khamzat is probably, honestly, if he would have beaten Whittaker, he would have gotten the title shot. That's most likely. He could have definitely beaten the champion no matter who it is. He has the best chances against Izzy, by the way, because what is Izzy gonna do to Khamzat on the ground? Like, realistically. I like Izzy, and I think Izzy would definitely completely style on him in the striking. But man, did you see what Khamzat did to Usman in the grappling? So yeah, Izzy could genuinely Khamzat could submit Izzy in the first round, okay? But the thing is, Khamzat's 30, guys. He's 30 years old. Don't forget about that. I know he always seems quite young, and he was quite young a few years ago. And he has that young man energy, but he's 30. And sure, he's not like a featherweight or something where you're done after like 30 or in your mid-30s. So he definitely has a bit more time than somebody like Volk, for example. But how many years has he left to become an all-time great? Because he's probably going to be in his physical prime for like 3 to 4 years. But how often is he going to fight in those 3 to 4 years? Because he just hasn't been very active in recent times. And it's not even his fault. It's his health and his visa issues. And honestly, I believe Khamzat is the most held back fighter we have ever seen, in my opinion. For me, Khamzat, without sickness and without visa issues, is a mythical fighter and is already a double, triple, quadruple, quintuple champ and the GOAT. Okay, I'm exaggerating here, but man, if he didn't have those issues, I really think Khamzat would be already one of the greats. I honestly believe that. But yeah, I wouldn't believe he's like the GOAT, but I think he would be like on Islam Makhachev's level or something like that. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I hope Khamzat's issues somehow get resolved and he gets back into the game and he still does fulfill his potential. But yeah, this is it for me. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.